Hi guys, welcome to Vendetta Sports Media. I'm Serenity Liessmann. Today we have a very special guest. His name is Joel Grace, and he is the president of the Reno Ice organization here. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. So the main point of this is really just to talk about, the cost of hockey. And you guys are a nonprofit organization, so you're definitely someone that can really get into that. And costs can include equipment or fees, and more particularly for our area, travel is a big one because whether you're coming from Carson or Reno, Sparks, whatever, you basically have to drive an hour up to Tahoe just to get to a rink. And in our last interview, you were saying, yeah, you basically have to dedicate a whole Saturday to that.
Correct.
You guys are trying to change that. So could you go into what Reno Ice is and what you guys are trying to do?
Sure. So our legal entity is the Greater Reno Community Ice Skating Association, which is a 501c3 organization. We started off that way from the beginning, and the purpose of that was number one, an ice rink is not a way. It's not a get rich quick scheme by any means. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of people, and really what you're trying to do is just to make sure that you can provide the right experience. So we started off that way because the ones that we found across the country that were most successful were ones where there wasn't an owner to the rink, because you're not pinching, pennies on the facility maintenance, on kids programming, et cetera. When you're a nonprofit, you can go out and raise money for different programming, which you've already started doing. But yeah, that's kind of the makeup of our organization right now. And we've hired our general manager, our hockey director, our figure skating director, and our facilities manager. We've got a great team coming in, but really with the main focus of being on the learn to skate to start for the area, and then the learn to play for anyone that does want to go on and do that. Of course, there's many other different ice sports that will have sled hockey. We are looking to do a women's only league as well as having co-ed. And then on the kids programming, this year we'll actually have a high school travel program for kids that want to go that route. But the main goal of this is to have in-house, or what we call, growing up, it was called City League. If you didn't play for the school team, you played City League basketball, for instance. So by doing City League, number one, it cuts down on the cost of travel. You're just going to one arena every time versus travel. You're traveling out of state, or at least across the state, to get to other areas to play teams.
Mm-hmm. I find what you guys are doing are awesome. I'm still really looking forward to it actually happening. The last time we were talking, you guys were in the process of getting all of the contract permits and stuff. So what is your status right now?
Yeah, so actually I was just on a call with our board this morning, and I couldn't make it out to the trailer because I wanted to make sure I was in front of a computer. But at the job site trailer, they actually put up the first columns. So there's actually steel in the air right now. We've got a really tight time frame, and that's based on our partners overseas. And we have 3 different pieces coming from out of the country. The ice rink itself, the refrigeration system. So the ice rink itself comes out of Germany. The refrigeration system comes out of Nova Scotia, and the boards come out of Finland. So we have a very tight time frame to make sure that we're set up by the time they get here to do install.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I kind of want to go a little bit into just how you guys are going to be able to afford everything, and also try and help other kids, do the learn to play or learn to skate, whatever it may be.
Sure.
How you guys are going about that.
Sure. Yeah. And, it was interesting because when we started this and we were trying to get opinions from various different foundations, and, tell us what your opinion of it is. And it's very expensive to do, and you need money to do it. And we said, okay, well, we're going to actually have a program where we have a scholarship fund that we're working with different foundations on to fund, as well as families and individuals. But any kid that shows up at the rink to skate is going to be given equipment, and their fees will essentially be covered to play. So everybody's going to be able to play in some capacity. The nice part about being a nonprofit is we can go out and get sponsorships for different programs, like a scholarship fund or a kids program, which was really the main, it was really the crux of what the board was formed for and why we formed it as a 501c3 is we want not just hockey, but skating in general to be for everyone, whether you can afford it or whether you can't. We want to make sure every kid has an opportunity to at least try it. The other thing is we're working with various different groups that are related to the NHL. We're working with the Golden Knights, Junior Golden Knights program out of Vegas that is working with us on some grants. Last year we had 50 sets of kids gear donated. So anybody who signed up for our Learn to Skate, Learn to Play program on the downtown rink at the row, if you were one of the first 50 kids, you got, the only thing you didn't get was skates and a helmet, but everything else was provided for you. And you got to keep that equipment at the end of the program. So the NHL has some really great programs, and we've already started applying for those to where they will actually, you go through a Learn to Skate program as a kid. And then once you decide that you want to keep going, you actually get fitted for your gear, and the NHL sends the gear directly to your house. So we're working on all sorts of programs like that. But again, it's not just it took us a while to kind of get there to even train the board. It's not a hockey rink, it's an ice rink. So, the bulk of the time is going to be free skate, learn to skate. You'll have figure skating lessons. You'll have learn to play, again, sled hockey, and then various other different events and things like that we can do in there.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really awesome once we can finally get that, since we only get a rink, during winter time. So just kind of touching on more financial stuff for families. I've already seen this effect of families not, being affected financially, so they may not be able to keep their kids in sport. And especially, like once things are safe and we can finally start getting sports back up again where the kids are playing against each other, do you think families may be pushing more towards doing these, almost nonprofit sports where even if they can't financially do it, they may be pushing in a direction to get their kid in the nonprofit sports just because that way they can stay with the sport that they love and the families don't have to worry so much about like all of the financial things that come with it?
So when you say nonprofit sport, I guess give me an example.
Oh, well, just like you guys being able to help provide like a program where these kids can actually learn or
Sure.
play.
Sure.
So just
No,
people are going to be pushed to maybe go after that more.
Yeah, and and that was our goal from the beginning, was to make this affordable for everybody. There's obviously going to be qualifications, just like there are with the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, etc. But it's not going to be a one size fits all. Our goal is that every kid that shows up that wants to play, we're going to figure out a way for them to do that. The one thing about it kind of gearing in on hockey more so, it's a very generous community of folks. So when we started playing 2 years ago for my kids, we didn't have any gear. And we had started reaching out to people, and because I wanted to make sure that they liked it first before we went and spent any money. And the community themselves, we had 2-3 sets of stuff, that people were just said, hey, this is our old stuff here. And, by all means, if it works, keep it. And so it's a very generous community in that regard. The nice part is that we're going to be able to offer, some of the people that are skating there that might be playing men's league that own their own businesses and are looking for a philanthropic way to give back. And we can say, hey, we're gonna have a sponsor a kid program. So, this kid kind of shows up. Hey, we don't have the means to be able to play the sport, but he or she really wants to do it. That's the nice part, is it's co-ed at the younger levels, and then we can kind of build individual programs from there. But we're going to have various different ways in which we can figure out that funding.
That's really awesome, just that you guys are able to, try and get these businesses to help sponsor these kids so they can try different sports, and especially with winter sports, since those typically tend to be like really expensive.
Yes.
So this is kind of more just an opinion thing for you. So last time we were talking, you said that you love soccer, that you used to play at the Dome. And I've kind of been on this recent mission of just talking about soccer in America and how we can try and change that so it's more affordable for kids. And everywhere else in the world basically uses the promotion relegation between leagues in order to have all of the big clubs put like trickle down money so the youth programs are covered and the kids don't have to pay. I mean, that's how you get, you know, Pele and Messi and all that. So I don't think this would ever happen with hockey, but would you think that it's an appealing idea if, you know, hockey did end up doing some sort of promotion or relegation between maybe not like leagues but like conferences or whatever it may be? So in that way, you know, it eventually leads to money trickling down to youth, or it's just, you know, people would get more involved.
Yeah, I mean, and with that program with the NHL, with what they're doing to get kids into play, that's a good example. So they have a lot of USA Hockey is kind of the governing body of hockey in the U.S. Actually, in the U.S., but then there's the international. It's IFHA, if I remember correctly. That's an international governing body, but they kind of govern what happens, kind of trickle down with the NHL. And so USA Hockey provides. You can go on their website, and they provide community rinks. Even the NHL, various different grants for different programs, equipment. You know, the tough part is it doesn't go towards capital, towards building the facility, which is what we had originally reached out to them for, because they're very program specific. So the nice part about that is every year we can apply for various different programs or grants and say, hey, we've got 100 new kids coming in. That equates to you know, we need dividers on the ice so we can run 3, you know, mite games, or as we're calling them, ice chips. You know, we can run 3 of those games at a time. By the way, we've got a serious need in town for equipment. We have a lot of families that the kids want to play. They're diehard, you know, hockey fans, but it is an expensive sport if you're just coming out of pocket for it, which is the whole reason that we're very heavily focused on the grant writing side of things as it relates to programs. So we've got many opportunities in many ways to skin the cat, but yeah, we're definitely, it does trickle down. People don't hear about it as much. You know, it's kind of like the NFL 360 program. That's more kind of punt, pass, and kick type thing. Well, this is more geared towards the actual needs on the ice.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I know that you've got a busy schedule. Any last?
My pleasure. No, just if any of your viewers are interested in donating, you know, our hashtag is Make Reno Ice Happen, but you can go to our website and donate. We've had some real diehard supporters since, you know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago when we started this, that have just been giving on a monthly basis, and we've accumulated some pretty decent money from the community as a whole that way. If there's anybody that wants to get involved on the campaign as far as raising money to kind of pay off our nonprofit loan, we would love the help. So anybody that has any interest, just feel free to reach out through our website, which is www.renoice.com or .org, either one.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.